about?
They will take a percentage. Greater Rochester Plein Air Painters, it does help fund things like this afternoon with David, which we appreciate. Thank you, David.
All right, thanks. Hopefully you had a good morning and got some things done. I'm going to cover a couple of things with you here today. I'm going to do a quick painting and talk about approach and if we work on our values and our intensity of color, that richness that you get with it's not always accepted in shows. The difference between a painter and an artist. A painter is technically great with their medium. They're able to replicate what they see, complete and created a masterpiece. He was not a slave to what he saw. He took charge, he made it his own, interpreted it. So I tend to like an impressionistic style, something that you really let the observer finish it out themselves, not so crisp in detail, and get a brush that has a decent point on it. And I'm gonna have to turn my back to you here for a little bit, hopefully you can see. I got my basic detail. I'm gonna try. Actually, some people like to work multimedia, where you're working with pastel and watercolor, or it's just an awful violation of your artistic license. You can use gouache and watercolor. You know, so they're, you know, pen and ink. Someone was just showing me their sketchbook. You can, you know, use a watercolor pen if you don't want to be a violator of the rules. Okay, so don't load your palette up with a bunch of pastel colors when you can make them. You know, if you're wealthy and and you just have money to burn, 300 is a heavier weight. What I'll talk about earlier or later on, as opposed to sheets that I take down, because you get a lot more movement with the tape sheets. This is okay. They're blue on all four edges. This is a block that I've been working on. Okay, so there's movement of pigment from one area to another. You can just keep going. The old way. You want to watch your edges. Brush with clear water that can soften edges is a good thing to make sure that you've got handy. What I wanted to show you was how we make panels and how you can set up. If you're in a plein air event doing watercolor and you want to quickly frame something, and your crescent board, you don't want to stop and deal with that. Now, in terms of the finish, what I use is Krylon UV Archival Gloss Varnish. 2 applications, at least on changing direction, I then go to Liquitex, acrylic, satin varnish. Okay? So here's the deal.